Good morning, guys. Today we have left Stuart this morning, and we are heading to Titusville if we can make it that far. It's about 100 miles. It's an ambitious run for us, but we're going to try it. This morning, just a beautiful view out here. Where are we at, Jim?
What's that?
Where are we at?
We are coming up on Fort Pierce.
Coming up on Fort Pierce, Florida, in our 36 Grand Banks. There's the shore on my east. No, actually that's my west side, and that's my east side. And we are heading north in the intercoastal waterway.
It feels pretty good to be going north, Paul.
Yeah, I know. We finally made the corner, so we've completed over 600 miles now. And now you're heading north. You are heading home now officially. You've made the corner and you're heading home.
Although the Okeechobee Waterway was interesting. I really kind of felt the need to go north.
Yeah, I know, because it's definitely an experience. But Jim, I want to talk about kind of yesterday, because we pulled into the marina there, and we got fuel. We got for all you guys curious about the fuel burn on this 36 Grand Banks. We didn't top off our tanks in Panama City, but that is the last time we got fuel. And because of our trip down to Naples, we have clocked right at probably about 650 miles. And we took on, do you remember the exact amount of fuel we took? It was 220 gallons.
Yeah.
It was 221 gallons of fuel so far.
Oh, you mean just yesterday?
Yeah.
That was 231.
231 yesterday. But we packed the tanks full, and we're getting our 3 miles to the gallon, and basically is what we're getting right now at our cruise speed at 7 knots. So that's with the boat, just really nice. And the generator's running perfectly again, so that is so nice, and it's great to have the generator.
I know, it's a great relief.
But yesterday, Jim, we pulled into the fuel dock, and then the fuel dock was perpendicular to the wind, so it was the wind was coming out of the east, and it was pushing us right up against the fuel dock.
Yeah, we were kind of jammed right up against that fuel
dock, and it was a very tight maneuvering too. There was not a lot of room for mistakes. And then both of us have to learn the boat, but trying to get the boat is being actually blown onto the dock. You know, like Mike Tyson says one time, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. Same thing.
Oh man, that's so true.
Yeah, and same thing with boating. I think everybody has a plan until that plan doesn't go right. And then you have to start, because we were talking and we were debating, we even talked to a couple other people, how would you take this boat off the dock? The wind's pushing us on the thing, and you really got to have a feel for it. Well, in the end, we were talking about using this line and doing this, and in the end, all I did was thrusted the front end out. And one of the decisions that we had to make is, do we let Jim do this, or do I do it, the owner of the boat, or do I do it? And in the end, it was just because that wind was pushing us so hard, I think Jim made a conscious decision. And then also it was a stern tide, so they wanted us to back into this little slip. And that's another problem with these 36 Grand Banks, is that they're a pretty small boat. And then they want us to back into the slip. And then, so I walked Jim over to the slip. And did you feel comfortable, Jim, like you?
Well, I wanted to do it, but
I think the wind was...
There was a lot of stress connected to getting off the fuel dock, and yeah. I just wasn't in the right place. And so I just, I asked you to do it. I know I'm going to have to do it myself and learn how to do it myself. And in that particular moment, with all these expensive boats around me, I just didn't want to take the chance, and I appreciated that the master took over.
Well, anyway, and it's hard to explain and even talk them off the dock, because I didn't know exactly what I was going to do or what was going to work, because we tried a couple different things and a couple different techniques, and in the end, all it was just a simple thrust off, and then let the thruster do its job. So then I pull it over to the slip, and we're in debate whether we're going to pull in forward or pull in backwards. And in the end, I just felt really comfortable. There was quite a breeze out. It was about 20 knots of wind. And I decided to just go ahead and back it in the slip, because it's easy to get on and off the boat easy for power, and it's the way the slip is set up. So I backed it in the slip, and I kept telling Jim over and over and over again, this is really hard to get the boat out of the slip in the morning.
And I didn't believe you.
He didn't believe me. He thought he was set up for a huge success.
I said, how can this go wrong?
Yeah,
it's a piece of cake. You just drive out.
Yeah, you just drive forward. And
well, it's not that simple.
No, it wasn't that simple. Anyway, so the long story short is we were coming out of the slip, and pretty much everything that could go wrong went wrong. Nothing bad. Nothing. I don't want to say anything bad, but one thing, Jim's not used to a bow thruster, and the wind was pushing us. The front end of the boat, it pushed it to port, and it was pushing him opposite of what he wanted the boat to do. But what happened is he just needed to pull out of the slip and just hit the thruster, but you had to stop the momentum of the boat, and that's what didn't happen. And so he was moving forward, and then he says, Paul, the thruster's not working.
In retrospect, it was very funny, but at the time,
no,
I learned the hard way that bow thrusters don't work if you're moving forward or whatever. You have to be stopped.
Yeah.
So the idea is, what I've learned is you got to get the boat out of the slip, clear the stern from the slip, and then you stop the boat, and then you pivot. And
it's got to be kind of a fluid movement too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? You've got to, it looks, and so, but you got out, and you got the boat out of the slip, and it was a little trickier than you even thought, pulling the boat out of the slip. And I'll always say it, that pulling a boat out of the slip from a stern tie is more complicated than backing the boat out of the slip.
Right.
It just is. And it sounds funny, but it is, especially with a single screw.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got the boat under control, and then the smart thing that Jim did is he says, the thruster's not working, Paul, and then he just gave me the controls for literally like 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, like 30 seconds, and said, here, figure this out real quick. Then we got it back under control. The thruster was working fine, and then as I pulled it around, I said, here, Jim, you take the helm, and then you pulled it right out. So it's literally like but your learning curve there, Jim, I know this is hard to understand, but your learning curve on that experience right there was 100%. Like it had taken you 5 dockings to figure that out. Does that make sense?
Right.
And this one docking is going to make a huge difference. Like next time you'll be 100% better. That won't happen to you again.
Right.
If that makes sense. Anyway, and sorry about the mics. I've been working with these mics. I got both of the mics because the video quality isn't perfect because I do this from my cell phone, but I do have the mics working perfectly. If somebody give me a thumbs up and let me know that you can hear me and Jim clearly. It's important that we have good audio on this. Give you a walk around the boat this morning. Boat's running absolutely flawless right now. Jim went in the engine room last night. He checked all of his fluids. He checked all of the fluids in the transmissions. It's just something that we do out here, and he needs to learn to do that himself. So normally I've been doing it, but this morning, actually last night, he did it for the first time. But now he knows how to check his transmission fluid, his engine oil, which we were burning no engine oil out of the main engine, nothing out of the generator, and we put a little bit of fluid in the gear last night. That was the only fluids that we had to add last night. So today, like I said, it's going to be ambitious for us to make a 100-mile run up to Titusville, but we're going to try. We'll see what happens. We're not boating right now with a set schedule. We're just set goals. The problem with Titusville is how many times we've got to slow down, if we got to do anything for the bridges, anything like that. So I just want to give you a morning walk around of the boat here. Jim, did you like that analogy of everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face?
Yeah, it's so true.
And what would you say, like, what was going through your head when you kind of, I don't want to say lost control, but you had that feeling of this isn't going the way I planned it to go?
Well, I mean, part of the problem that I have is I've been in my experience in boating, my most recent experience has been with a 22-foot catboat, which is a completely different configuration than this. And so, I'm operating on different instincts, and I'm kind of wondering whether or not you're better off not knowing anything when you start something like this, so that you can start from scratch, because preconceived notions and all of that type of thing.
Yeah, right, because you're trying to do stuff that you were doing with the catboat.
Especially getting off that fuel dock. I would have gotten off that fuel dock. I've done it a million times in the catboat in similar situations, but that catboat didn't have a bow thruster, and so we realized that the way we got off was the perfect way, and learned a big lesson yesterday. That was really cool.
Yeah, coming off the dock there was extremely cool.
And I'm not afraid of it now too. Yeah.
No, right. Like, yeah. I think your whole learning curve from yesterday, it'll be. I know you've done all of the docking except for yesterday was the first time I've docked the boat since we've left Panama City.
We've gone into simple docking situations. We've gone through a number of locks. I am totally comfortable with that.
Right.
But the tight quarters
and the wind,
either crosswind or current, that type of thing is just going to take a lot of practice. And
another thing that's amazing too, and I've preached it 100 times, is current will outbeat wind. Did you notice, like, the wind doesn't affect you as much as you thought it?
Right.
It's more current. Anyway, guys, I'm going to sign off this morning with that this is a huge endeavor. It's 1,800 miles at the end of the day. It's 36. It's a 40-year-old trawler.
It's a third of the loop, right?
Yeah, it's a third of America's Great Loop. And, it's not an easy task, and especially for somebody that, like Jim, this is his first time. You've never owned a trawler. You have owned a powerboat before, but not a trawler.
I have, but it was nothing like this.
Yeah, right. It was nothing like a 30.
I guess every boat is different.
It is. That's where I'm kind of, my experience level is because I've owned sailboats, I've owned powerboats, I've owned single screw, I've owned twin screw, I struggled with the twin screws, getting used to those twin screws. I just struggled with it. But now that, you asked me yesterday, how long did it take me on America's Great Loop to get used to, like, say, I was completely comfortable with operating the boat in a very tight situation. Because when you guys get out here, if you think you're just going to walk into every slip and it's, wide and everything's Kuna Matata, it's not, is it, Jim?
That's what I've learned, yes. It's not that simple. However, one of the things that I am absolutely convinced that anybody buying a new boat or a new boat to you gotta hire a captain to help you get through those initial days.
Now, that being said, if you have plenty of trawler experience, no. But if you
absolutely different story.
Yeah, but if you're switching to a trawler from a sailboat, or you're switching from single to twin, and yes, you should be checked out for.
Well, I mean, you've got two things to concern yourself with. One of them is the boat systems themselves.
Oh yeah.
And knowing where everything is and what everything does and wherever all the switches are and all the valves and all of that type of thing. But the second thing is just knowing how the boat operates.
Yeah, I think like yesterday we took you down in the engine room and made you check all.
I'm wondering if I'm just getting too old for this, because
you were not happy down in the engine room.
Well, it was also, it was really funny, is we both just took a shower at the, and now I'm down in a hot engine room checking the oil and all that kind of stuff, and I said, I got to take another shower. So. Because
typically I go down in the engine room, because I am a little bit, I'm a few years younger and a little more limber, and so and a little shorter. So I'm usually the one that runs down there and checks everything, but he needs to know how to do it.
Well, I think I'll be fine in the long run. A lot of it is just knowing where you can step and how you can get from one point to another and what. So even getting around the engine room is an ordeal. Is an ordeal.
The bigger the boat, the easier that gets, but still, it's still crawling.
I'm glad I don't have twins from that perspective.
Oh yeah, that's why I'll preach single, because if you got twins, you can't get to the outboard sides on your twins.
That's right.
Not on these small boats. Anyway, guys, I'm going to end this video, this live video today. Not sure exactly. We're not out here with a exact set plan. Jim has a bunch of free stays at the safe harbors, so that's where we stayed last night. And hopefully we get to another safe harbor. We also paid $4.73 a gallon for fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, $4.73. So it took a little over $1,000 to fill up the tanks. And we took on 230 gallons, and that was running from Panama City down to Naples, and then from Naples over to Stuart. And we burned. Our tanks weren't all the way packed, so I guarantee it was only about 200 gallons of fuel.
Oh yeah, in terms of what we use.
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
Absolutely.
All right, peace out. Remember, live life with no regret. I do. And you guys got any questions? Leave your comments down below. I'll get back to you. And one day, probably next week, maybe the end of next week, me and Jim will do a live video just one evening, and we'll answer anybody's questions, so make sure you check that out. Anyway, peace out. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.